Shout out to my boy Sigma Music Art, because this new intro song is an absolute jam. Damn. Okay, well, welcome back to the podcast. It's been a long time. I think it's been over a year since we've recorded an episode, and going forward, it's just going to be me. If you have been following us on social media or following me, you might notice that the 5 Elements brand is just me now. Sam and I are no longer working together, and the podcast is also just going to be me. So to our old fans who like the dynamic between her and I'm sorry to say it's just going to be me going forward. If this won't be your jam, I totally get that. But I still think it's going to be a great show. It's going to be similar in what I want to discuss and some of the topics I want to dive into. I do think it'll be a little less research focused than before. When I first started it, I was in a weird place where I was kind of obsessed with the evidence-based stuff, which I still think is very important. But I think sometimes in some of the episodes that I recorded and that we recorded was more in-depth on some of the science than that was necessary for the average person who just wanted better advice for their fitness and health journeys. So with that in mind, it's going to be more on the practical side, and I do want to discuss some of the bigger topics in the fitness industry, some of the more relevant stuff. And what is exciting is that I'm going to be doing a lot more interviews. Now, I know we did say that before, that it was going to be something we were going to add into the podcast, but I already have 2 interviews lined up, because I'm going to be doing some writing for a website. And with the pieces I'm going to be writing, I actually am going to be doing some interviews for that. So I got some cool interviews lined up. And I also want to invite some friends on, because I do like the casual nature in which podcasts are built on. I think it's just cool to chat and get to know people, as opposed to it being as much information crammed into 30 minutes to an hour as possible. Personally, I like the more casual vibe. You get to know someone, you chat it up, you have a good time, you have some laughs. Hopefully you get some takeaways too, but it's not just this super serious thing where you're solely focused on driving in as much education as possible, because sometimes you lose some of the art of communication along the way. And if you're having a good time listening, you're going to be more engaged. And sometimes I did realize with some of the episodes we've done before, we actually had the data and the metrics of listenership. And one of the things we always found funny was in the beginning, Roses and Thorns was easily the most listened to segment. And then as it got more into the actual topic, it started to fizzle off in terms of who was listening, which I understand. The longer a podcast is, the more likely you're going to stop listening. But we almost had 100% listenership through Roses and Thorns. And I think it's because people just like to get to know people on a podcast, hear them chat about their lives. I know that's what I like when I listen to a pod. It's more of a parasocial thing, and I enjoy that. So I want to have some fun on the pod, have some cool discussions and interviews, but then also touch on some of the fitness stuff that is relevant. And as always, it will be evidence-informed fitness content that also is going to be delivered in a way that I hope to be practical for your daily life. Now, this probably isn't going to be a podcast built for optimizing everything you want in the fitness industry. So, you're a bodybuilder, a powerlifter, probably not your scene. Maybe you like the vibes and you stay. That's dope. I would like that. But I really want to help people make fitness more accessible, make it more consistent, dive into strategies that are going to help you stay consistent with fitness, potentially work on some of the shame that the fitness industry preys on. And one of our first episodes is actually going to touch on this quite a bit, where I sat down to speak with someone about body neutrality, what that actually means, how to apply a more body neutral approach to your fitness, things of that nature. And I think that they're quite helpful. So yeah, I just wanted to come on here and announce the podcast is going to be back. I don't know how frequent episodes will be. Doubtful it'll be once a week. I know we used to always say we wanted to get them out that often, but there's a lot more work that goes into these than we initially realized. And I don't want to set a bigger goal than I think is realistic. I want to just release these whenever I can, whenever I'm writing a piece, whenever I am doing an interview for any pieces that I'm writing. I'm going to turn them into podcasts, because you get a lot more out of the full conversations, or at least I feel like I do as well. So I think you'll enjoy that. And we're back, baby. I'm excited to be back. I really enjoyed the podcast. Of all the content I created over the last few years, the podcast has been the one that I've enjoyed actively doing the most. That and writing blogs, but people don't read blogs as much as they like to listen to podcasts, and I understand that. It's a lot easier to listen to podcasts, especially if you're commuting to work. You can kind of compound it with other things. I listen to podcasts on my walk to work. I get that totally. So we're going to be back. I'm going to be dropping 2 episodes over the next little while. These are going to be interviews based on topics with some stuff that I'll be discussing on my own as well that I think will be applicable. It's going to be educational. Hopefully it's going to be fun, and I am really excited to get back to this. I've missed doing this. I've missed y'all, and I'm looking forward to it. So feel free to subscribe to the pod. It's definitely off your feed if you were subscribed before, and the show will keep going. As always, I still do offer online coaching. So if you are looking for help with your fitness and nutrition, that is something that I offer. I'm going to leave in the show notes the link to how you can find out more about coaching and potentially fill out an application if it's something that you're looking for. Make sure to follow me on Instagram. You know the regular pitches. You listen to podcasts all the time. It's the same shit. So I'm looking forward to getting back to it, and I will talk to you soon. All right, cheers.